Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Etheria Restart video. So in today's video, guys, I wanted to talk about 4 Animus SRs that everyone really needs to build to be competitive in PvP. I think these are non-negotiable. I don't really think that they're gonna go away anytime soon either, because they just counter things that I think will always be relevant. So most of them you already know because of the thumbnail, but I do want to talk a little bit more in detail about them, when to pick them, who they counter, what counters them, all of those things. So the first one that we're touching on here today is Kazio the Reverie. I think this character is the premier crowd control hero. She is better than Opel when it comes to just pure CC. Because if you end up being able to use take a turn with her without any kind of immunity up on your opponent, the game's most likely over. With that being said, though, she does need some support characters around her to make that work. The meta has already kind of adjusted. You've seen some people running Alicorn a little bit more. You've also seen a lot of people really go high effect resistance. But she's also one of those characters that does not need any kind of attack or HP. She just needs speed and effect accuracy. So it's a bit more difficult, I think, to counter her with just high effect res because you can also bring in a bunch of things that allow you to just run a crap ton of effect res on her, to be blunt. So with all of these characters, I truly believe that you need all of their skills leveled out. And that makes sense considering you're going to be going up against a bunch of SSR heroes for the endgame PvP. You got to deal with multiple dupes where people are taking advantage of this, dealing more damage, damage taken. Like that's what's going to be required from your SR characters. However, I do think that they give you enough of the SR lattices over time, especially if you were to prioritize just like these 4 heroes. And the great thing is they're awesome in PvE as well. So yeah, when it comes to Kazio, the support characters that you're looking for is you really need someone who can dispel. There's a couple options, even in the SR range here, that we're talking about later in Opel and Mizuki. They're both dispel units, which is really nice. The thing is you're at least for Mizuki, you're typically not going to be running her fast. She's just going to be tanky, like in Bloodbath, but you do have the option to run her quick to kind of throw people off, and then control with Kazio. So I wouldn't say that Bloodbath is the only way to run her, but that's how I would recommend because we're going to talk about her in a bit. Obel, though, is very similar to Kazio in the fact that you only need speed and effect res because all of his damage is coming from the DOT and you want enough effect res to dispel the immunity. But we'll talk about him in detail a little bit more. Um, Heinrich is another premier dispeller. Most people don't have him because he's a light dark, but Holden can be run fast as well as a dispeller, especially if you don't have lattices into him. And then Mia is another dispeller that's kind of risen up the ranks, even though she's slow, but she does add a bunch of different things as well, like heals, extending buffs, reducing skill cooldowns, a lot of great things. So those are the dispeller options. And then you want turn boosters, right? You want Lily, you want Mio, you want Doki. You want Kazio to cycle around to those turns as much as she can because, again, the more attacks she's taken, she's not waking anyone up whenever they're sleeping if she's attacking based on her passive. It's very oppressive. I know plenty of people who are watching this video have played against it. So, uh, yeah, those are the premier characters, but that's what I'm saying is she needs the support. Now, when it comes to the shells, I think the best one to put on her is Codex of Magic. Reason being is not necessarily the fact uh, that you get to reset your skill 3. It's a great addition. The additional speed is also nice for the 2 turns to help her cycle, but the fact that this is the easiest shell to get the right drops. It's not the easiest shell to farm, of course, because it's in Rango Kutsu. But the nice thing is you if you end up getting a drop of the shell, both of the Inferno specialized core drops on here are 100% reasonable to put on her. So all you need to have is the Swift Rush with one of these drops, and you have a perfectly working shell for your Kazio. If you were to get the Swift Rush Bulwark, that's the dream, along with either of these two. Swift Rush Bulwark Swift Smite is the premier on her because she's getting the speed, the effect accuracy. She can't be controlled. So if like a Mio or something cuts in front of you, you still have the ability to not get turn meter pushback and still sleep and attack down everybody. But the reason why this is nice is because you truly only need Swift Rush in one of these two, because she just cares about the speed and the effect accuracy. Other options that you can put on her are Dark Moon. So, Dark Moon, even though the sleep will not be extended from this effect, the fact that you can put up a 3-turn attack down is really crucial sometimes because tank players will bring in a DPS threat. Because if that DPS character gets to go, your crowd control team is gone, right? It's also usually drafted as a character to force you to ban for those reasons exactly, where you prefer to ban someone like the Tiamat or the Holden or Rahu. But I think the highest selling point of the Dark Moon is the increase to the effect accuracy. A lot of players have really started to resort now to high effect res. So this is where Dark Moon really comes into play. She also gets Swift Smite, so that's very good. So you can still go Swift Rush, Bulwark, Swift Smite. It's just going to be a little bit harder to get those drops because you need Swift Rush and Swift Smite instead of the Aether Plague. I know the Aether Plague gives you the effect accuracy, but speed is really, really important on your crowd control team because you just need to cycle as much as you can. So Dark Moon's a nice option. Jackal Guard is also good. Comes with the Swift Smite and the Bulwark Swift Rush. If you were ending up getting that, Time Weave is also another great option to cycle around more, and also the added effect accuracy for what I just said on the tank teams. Jackal Guard and Dark Moon, I will say the one of the issues that I have with them is they deal the damage beforehand, and I don't like triggering uh, the bloodbath. I don't know how this necessarily works. I know this targets the highest attack character in the game. So sometimes like it can target just like a Ling Lu or anything, which is not bad. But I don't think the shell itself can target or activate Lighthouse. I don't think that works that way. If somebody can tell me down below, that'd be great. So those are the three best, I think. However, Artisan and Gigabyte are certainly reasonable. The problem is they do not have the premier specialized cores. They do have Aether Plague, so you can still get the effect accuracy if you want, and they do have Swift Rush Time Weave, so it's okay. It's just nowhere near as good. The thing that I like about Gigabyte is the fact that it does still give you turn meter boosting. So if you're going up against crowd control heroes, I mean tank heroes, uh, they'll be asleep as they're taking their turn, but they'll still accumulate those 3 turns, pushing your Casio back up in front. Uh, it also could get a little tricky with your characters because your characters still can wake up their characters. So that's why this is not as good, but it's still an option, especially if you can't farm the higher level Inferno shell stages. These two are perfectly fine. So that's Casio. Amazing, amazing option. I think everyone needs to build her. She's just that good and accessible. Opel, same thing. It's the same kind of concepts with Casio. The problem is his DOT stun is on a 4-turn cooldown, so it's much harder to cycle through to him. He does have the ability, though, to be a little bit more versatile than the Reverie because he does bring a Dispel. So you have other options here, too, where if they want to ban the Casio because they're a little more concerned about her just controlling the entire game and they think they could deal with the Opel will allow you to bring other debuff heroes. I think Opel can open up the door for other crowd control heroes like the Mios, even Kraken, where the Kazio, she really depends on a dispeller, where Opel can dispel first, have other crowd control heroes, and then you just cycle around between him and the other crowd control hero, um, which makes him, like I said, a bit more dangerous than the Kazio, because he just does a couple more things where if you have the dispels or the Doki Doki or the Lilium, that the Kazio might not be as big of a threat as like an Opal is. But same shells and concepts as Kazuya. Now, these two characters, Sonya and Mizuki Makoto, they are your bloodbath tank kind of uh like counter picks, okay? And I'll talk about when to pick the characters and all those things as well and who they're good against. But Mizuki 100% needs all of her skills leveled up. This skill 2 is so good. The fact that she 100% guarantees the counterattack. I've seen instances where I boosted my Yelly and I attacked into a Tiamat, Holden, and Mizuki, and they were all on Bloodbath, but my Yelly attacked, and the Bramble procced from the Tiamat, the Bramble, and or just Holden counterattack because of his uh, innate ability to counterattack, and the Mizuki countered attack. And the Yelly just got her one big AoE in. She didn't even get to do the follow up attack with her skill 1. They just all like counterattacked and killed her. It was pretty funny. But yeah, the reason why this is really good is because of the wound on it. And she is the perfect counter pick to Tiamat. The reason why that's important is because Tiamat is certainly a huge threat, but what makes her really strong is the fact that she has two premier healers like the Ling Luo and like Sonya, who we're going to talk about next, that just make her crazy. So if you have the Mizuki in your counter pick lineup, where you have another kind of must ban character that they're after, like maybe a Heinrich or something, uh, it allows you to then ban their Sonya or Ling Luo, where the healing is a lot less prevalent, or even the immunity, even though she has this spell on her other abilities here, she will be such a nuisance to that Tiamat. It won't even matter. Like you can go after other heroes. Like you can focus target down the Sonya, and whenever the Tiamat is trying to do the AoEs, like you are just counterattacking, putting up the wounds, all of those things, and you just kill that Tiamat so fast. She's my main target on this upcoming 2x event. I've got her 6-starred, I've got the necessary lattices. I don't have the prowess materials, so I'm waiting for that. But yeah, how you end up building her is just in a lot of bloodbath. You have a couple different ways that you can build her. Uh, I do think Lighthouse as a shell has kind of gone down in value because of how much uh, crowd control is out there. So something like an alicorn is perfectly reasonable. Having the possibility to have Swift Smite on the alicorn is really good for her. Increases her speed and effect accuracy. She does need that for the wound and for the dispelling. So it's important. You can also do Bramble and Bloodbath on here. Uh, and it's going to dispel the crowd control buffs. And if you get kind of like one turn off or something like that, it might just be enough for you to one shot, uh, like an Obel or something, especially if he doesn't have his stun up or something like that. So Alicorn is certainly a reasonable option. I think Gigabyte is okay as well. Most people are going to be running this character on Artisan. It's going to be Unbreakable, Bloodbath, and Colossal Guard. So you're getting max Colossal Guard defense up. You're getting all of really high stack defense. And then the Artisan's also giving you high defense output as well to allow your counterattacks to just hit really, really hard. She is the main counter pick to Tiamat. However, there are other heroes that she can be good against, like hitting a Rahu is certainly fine, not bad. Counterattacking these lilies, counterattacking a Mizuki, also really, really nice. Counterattacking any of the dispellers or the squishy characters that are kind of forced to eventually hit them ends up being a really big thing. But I would say she's more of that tank counter pick for the Tiamat, and she's one of those kind of DPS heroes that you can bring in against Cleave because she's in the bloodbath, she has high defense, and she has that counterattack ability, like I told you before, where she can kind of just counter and kill one of the DPSs before they even get another turn. So fantastic hero there. And then the last one is Sonya, hands down. This character, like a part of me feels like she is the best first pick. I think she's kind of better than Ling Luo in a lot of ways. The thing that hurts Ling Luo is the fact that the immunity that she puts up is for only one turn. Uh, and tank teams, they just tend to be slow and don't have a whole lot of damage output. So even if you have like a Sonya on your team with a bunch of crowd control heroes and your enemy puts up immunity and all of those things, like let's say your Dispeller didn't get through, but your Kazio did, the Sonya keeps your entire team healthy, has the ability to even revive that crowd control hero, where if they end up getting one of their skills off, it's just not enough for the Ling Luo to keep up. Where if you're going up against a Sonya, you run into similar issues where if she ends up taking that turn and just heals somebody right back up with the ability to possibly dispel it, I think it's a little bit better. The fact that Lighthouse has creeped out of the meta a little bit, not entirely, like it's still super relevant in a very reliable pick because people can still cleave. It's just that with crowd control being so prevalent, I think sometimes Lighthouse can be detrimental more so than helpful. But the way that I have Sonya built, I think is one of the better ways to do it. Not necessarily my build because I am lacking a bunch. Oh, sorry, this is my my PVE build. When it comes to my PvP build, I have her in quote unquote high effect res. This is not high. This needs to be like 250 to 300. But I do not have the necessary effect res pieces. But if you bring her in Gigabyte, she is getting just so many turns and cycling back around to her heals. It's not even funny. Um, the Gigabyte boosting the 35% is awesome. And ideally, I wouldn't even have Wellspring. What I would have is Bramble. Bramble is really, really strong in here because uh, not only from the defense itself, but you also have a chance to counterattack and boost your turn meter by 30% as well on the attacks because they are going to be focusing down the Sonya. The other thing that I think is really, really nice on Sonya is there are no like really strong high attack fire DPSs right now. Like Holden is very good DPS, and he could certainly kind of chip away at the Sonya, but it's really hard to one shot her or get her off the field because of those reasons. Like what you have is Chloros, who I think is quite good, but he's a slow buildup. I really like him, and most people don't have him built. The other one is Leon, which no one has built. And I don't even think that she could take anyone out or do anything like that. So then you have the typical, Messiah, you have the typical Yelly, um, and then like on some of the lower stages, the Ting. But it's not enough to one shot that Sonya. She's just way too tanky in the bloodbath. And then the Gigbite is just cycling back around where she can put, the HP up on herself. She's healing herself if she's one of the lowest. So yeah, it's kind of just crazy. So when do you end up, counter picking some of these heroes? So again, we're talking about like RTA, right? Where only one person is going to have the Sonya. But if your opponent ends up going with Ling Luo, pick one, I think it's certainly serviceable to pick a Sonya right after that. You do not want a tank bruiser uh, enemy to have both Ling Luo and Sonya. It's almost game over. They can pick a Rahu, a Holden, a Tiamat. Uh, they can pick a DPS, and if they have enough heals and tank, you're just not getting anything done. So that's where Sonya is certainly a great pick. Another time I really like to pick Sonya is whenever you're going up against a cleave team. So if you are going up against a Revelation cleave team still, it's certainly still an option for you to pick the Sonya. So here you'll see like a Lily and then a Revelation target. I think that's also a very nice time to pick that Sonya because the Lily will boost, the Revelation character will go, and then, or what ends up happening is they'll have the Dispeller go, right? So uh, they'll have the Lily boost the Dispeller. The Dispeller tries to dispel, and then the Revelation or the crowd control hero goes. And once that's done, Sonya will proc, and if you have her high effect res, you can you can resist the crowd control. Or if the Rev character goes, you're also surviving because of the bloodbath. She boosts herself to the top of the turn order. She can then revive whoever died from your DPS and then heal them back up and herself. Really, really nice counter there as well. In cases like this, like this is also an amazing time to bring in the Mizuki. Um, so if you have her on Bloodbath, Unbreakable, Colossal Guard, if let's say that this character's entire strategy is around just boosting Yelly or some other Rev character like a Messiah, you can bring in the Mizuki, the Rahu, the Holden, and the Tiamat. And I know not everybody has these characters. Trust me, I know. I'm just saying, like on the high ends of Arena, and then they have to ban like one of these characters. Your Mizuki and your Holden have the possibility to just counterattack and one shot that Yelly before she gets a chance at the counterattack. Also, if your opponent is bringing the Tiamat, this is hands down the best counter against Tiamat, in my opinion. Um, Other than maybe Control. And then honestly, the Opel and the Kazio, they can be used against any team as long as you have the speed. That's the problem. Like if you're going up against a team like this and you don't have enough speed and you're trying to do the crowd control, it just might not work. But they don't have any immunity in here, right? They don't have any Ling Luos. They don't have Doki Doki. So you don't need to bring strippers. You don't need to bring anything like that. And that's where your Obels and your Kazios will just completely dominate a team like this if you're fast enough. But if they're faster than you, you're done. So, anyway, guys, those are the heroes that I wanted to talk about. And just give you some reasons as to why you should build them. And uh, yeah, I guess just some counter picks, the shells to look out for, some of the modules. But that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it helped, and catch you on the next one. See ya.